up, tribe? How you guys doing? Welcome back to a retro review of Falcon Crest Season 2, Episode 14. So we are back. Lance is still upset that Angela will not accept the fact that Joseph is not his son. Angela said, Joseph is your son until I say he's not your son, because we need him to be your son. Okay? Do you not understand that the only reason why I asked you to marry Melissa to begin with is so we can merge the two vineyards? I got her on the ropes. I got her where I need her, and I need you to just play your position a little bit longer. And stop seeing the woman up in San Francisco. You throwing the whole thing off. Okay? Okay. Now, she does threaten Lance, talking about something that if you go back up there to visit her, you can go ahead and pack your bags. But listen, Angela, you know I give you the utmost respect because you know you my girl and I love you. But you have threatened Lance 3-4 times with that same threat. And at this point, he ain't stopped seeing that woman in San Francisco, and you ain't put him out. So he really ain't concerned, and he ain't going to stop seeing her. You know that, I know that, he know that, she know that, child. Let's go. Then we have Philip coming through, and Philip was like, oh yeah, we found Emma. Now remember, Richard had already found Emma 3 episodes ago, okay? So they finally found Emma. She's down in Texas. He said it's only a matter of time before we locate exactly where she is, and then we can, you know, get her, come back home with her shares, da-da-da-da-da. So then Angela was like, well, you want to go to dinner tonight, Philip? And Philip was like, you know what? No, I got to get over to the marina before it gets dark. I need to check on some things with my boat because I'm going out. I'm going sailing tomorrow. And she was like, sailing? Oh, that's great. I would love to go sailing. Angela, ain't nobody asking you to go. He didn't say nothing about taking you nowhere. He said, he had said he got it. He didn't ask you. And the look on his face said everything I just said. Like, I didn't ask you to go on the boat. I didn't. Nobody said nothing about that, bro. And he plays it off, but you can see the look on his face was like, ain't nobody trying to let you go nowhere, child. Now, Chase is down in his office for the county, you know, executor, whatever he is, child, on the board of executives, whatever the hell he is. And the sheriff comes through there and tells him, listen, you need to stop asking all these questions, okay? You are doing too much. You are doing the most. And, you know, Chase was like, listen, that's my son. And as long as we don't have the real killer, then everybody thinks that my son is the murderer. And, you know, the sheriff kind of give him the side eye like, your son is the murderer. He was like, see, that's what I'm talking about, because you think my son is guilty. And the sheriff sort of gives him the look like, but your son is guilty. And he was like, see, and that is why I'm going to keep looking for the murderer until you figure it out. So then the sheriff threatened him with obstruction of justice charges, talking about something, if you don't mind your business and stay out of our way, we're going to hit you with obstruction of justice charges. And Chase was like, do what you got to do. I mean, if you feeling froggy. And, you know, the sheriff just kind of give him this look like, okay, cool. He comes home and him and Maggie get into an argument because Maggie tells him, listen, why don't you chill out? Because at this point, Cole has moved on with his life. Everybody has moved on with their life. You're really the only one that's still harping on this, Chase. Like, I really wish that you would let it go, because I feel like at this point you're doing more harm than good. And Cole, it's hurting Cole more than it's helping Cole at this point. And Chase, of course, kind of, you know, pushed back and was like, I'm doing this for us because, you know, as long as everybody thinks that he's the murderer, you know, it's going to always be a cloud over him. And, you know, we need to find out who it is. So, like, Chase is really on one about figuring out who killed Melissa's dad. Lance is down talking to his mama, talking about, you know, he can't believe that Angela won't let him live his own life. And I'm thinking to myself, have you not been living in the same house? Like, Julia was looked at him like, oh, so now you get it. Like, now because she was like, why don't you just leave? He was like, I've thought about it many times. And she was like, has my life not been enough of a warning to you? Like, if you don't get your shit and get the hell up out of here, because ain't nothing going to change. You're going to keep being a puppet for your grandmother, right? Now, Melissa ends up overhearing this conversation, and Melissa comes in and basically calls his bluff. Melissa was like, listen, you ain't going nowhere. You ain't never going to leave Falcon Crest, okay? Because you got too much at stake. You too vested in it, and Angela got you by the balls, like, basically. And, you know, and he was like, oh, really? She was like, She said, I mean, that's what I did. Like, I sacrificed everything to be the head of Falcon Crest. Now, here's the thing. That's sort of what made Lance change his mind, because I think Lance was probably on the borderline of leaving, but when you started talking about how you was trying to be in charge of Falcon Crest, I think that's what made Lance be like, grandmother was right. I gotta play my cards right on this one. Okay. Now, Richard and Melissa. Richard has landed on thick, honey. He done took Melissa out on a date. They all flirty and sexy and all that good stuff. And Melissa, and he sort of opens up to her, like he's letting Melissa know that he wants to buy her property and stuff. And Melissa was like, like, I don't know about that. You know, I'm supposed to sell those to, you know, Angela. I don't know, you're doing a lot. And next thing you know, they kissing. Next thing you know, they done went back to Richard's place, and they about to know I'm getting ahead of myself. That was their second date. So the next day, Philip think he gonna outsmart Angela. He's sitting on his boat. Clearly, you can hear the seagulls and hear the water. He's sitting on his boat on a phone. You know, back in the early 80s, it wasn't like cell phones, but this was like the version of a cell phone, right? And he's telling her he's in the office working hard for her, and he doesn't have time to go out on the boat. And, you know, Angela was like, oh, well, I'm so sorry to hear that. She hangs up the phone, right? And you see her thinking, like, she calls his office back. And, of course, an answering service lets her know, yeah, Mr. Phillip is not here. He's going to be out all weekend. And Phillip is on the boat with his woman, honey. And Phillip done think he done outsmarted Angela. And Angela got the upper hand all along. Chess and checkers, okay? Chess and not checkers. Now, Cole and Chase go over to Melissa's dad's house to go. I don't know what they thought they was going to find at the crime scene 6 months later, child. But they want to talk to the groundskeeper. And of course, the groundskeeper's not there. He's an Asian guy, and he's not there. And, you know, Cole act like he gonna, because they got a security guard there, you know, monitoring the property to make sure people don't come through to vandalize or whatever. And Cole gonna get nasty with the security guard. And the security guard was like, now I see why they thought you killed him. I mean, look, you crazy. Like, look how you acting. So so Chase then goes over to Falcon Crest to talk to Charlie, because of course all Asian people know each other. Right? Charlie, of course, knows him. And he asked Charlie, you know, they've been trying to look for him. They've narrowed him down. They use his tax records to narrow him down, you know, his W-2 information to narrow him down. And they have a name, but they want Charlie to go with them because, you know, they got to go to Big Bad Chinatown in San Francisco. And Angela is like, Chase, will you let this go? Like, the more you talk about it, you keeping it up, and it's just brings scandal on Falcon Crest. Like, let it go. Everybody done stop talking about it, bruh. Let it go. So, Chase was like, well, Angela, like, with all due respect, I'm not even talking to you. I'm talking to Charlie. But, girl, you know if you're talking to Charlie, you're talking to Angela. So, Charlie give Angela the look and look back at Chase and was like, yeah, I can't help you, bruh. Then Angela does the exact opposite. As soon as Chase leaves, then Angela tells him, I want you to make sure that Chase doesn't find who he's looking for. And you know Charlie did it. Later on in the episode, we see Chase, going to Chinatown with Cole, and of course they can't find the guy because Charlie done got there and the guy done disappeared, right? Okay. Charlie also has a conversation with Lance, and he's trying to encourage Lance to be nicer to his wife, right? He was like, listen, y'all stuck in this situation. You already see that the paternity test ain't help you get out of this marriage. So you might as well just try to make some lemons and make you some electric lemonade or something. And so he does. He tries to be nice to Melissa, and Melissa was like, bruh, it's too little too late, and that ain't happening. Then Lance goes up to San Francisco to see his girlfriend, and his girlfriend is like, listen, I ain't doing this no more. You told me that the paternity test will work. You told me to wait until Melissa had the baby, and that the paternity test would be what would get us out of this. And none of that happened, okay? I waited for her to have the baby. Then you was at the hospital day and night because the baby almost died. No disrespect. Then we get the paternity test. The paternity test come back that he not the father, and guess what? Don't nobody care about that either. So you know what? I'm not playing this game with y'all no more, okay? But then, of course, Lance sweet talked her, and they ended up back in bed. So we see Lance. What's interesting, we see Lance go out on a date. He's out on a date with his San Francisco chick. We see Philip out on a date with his side chick, and they end up passing each other. And they both act like they ain't see each other, but you know they saw each other, right? But they were like, we just keep that in our back pocket. Now down to the Gilberte house. Somebody is inside of the house typing up a letter on Maggie's typewriter. He got on gloves. We don't see their face, you know. And he actually almost hurt Maggie because he heard Maggie come in the house while he was still typing up the letter. He couldn't get out the house fast enough. He hid, had the knife in his hand. You know, they made it a whole suspenseful thing. Maggie came in. She sat down, took her shoes off. But then she ended up leaving out the kitchen. And he ended up running out the front door. He or she ended up running out the front door. And of course, when Maggie saw the door open, she just thought one of the kids had come through, or the wind blew the door open. And she was just like, huh, that's a little interesting. Okay, cool, you know. All right. And she just kind of went on by her way. So then we see Melissa and Julia having a moment, right? And Julia is basically trying to talk to Melissa about selling her stuff to Falcon Crest. And then they get off on this conversation about Chase and being obsessed with figuring out who killed her father, and how, you know, like, and Melissa was like, well, Chase is the only one that seems to care about what happened to my father, and so I got his back. And Julia was like, yeah, but, you know, it could be very dangerous. You know, that can be very dangerous. It's obsessive, and it's almost like he's coming after my mother. Like, just be very careful about dealing with Chase and what Chase got going on, right? And Melissa was like, all right, girl. So then Richard calls, and he invites Melissa out on another date. Of course, they got to play this whole cloak and dagger thing. But they end up going out on another date, honey. And once again, you know, Richard is landed on thick. He landed on real thick, talking about how beautiful she is and how he wants to be with her, whatever. But he also, you know, throws it out there about buying the property and how he wants to be a part of the valley. And this would help him, you know, be a part of the valley. Now, his little secretary / side chick was not feeling it. She was like, so you want to tell me, you want me to believe that you are seducing Melissa to get, you know, because to get the property that you're not really enjoying this whole situation? Like, nah, I don't believe it. And baby, she gets in her whole little feelings, because when the date is over, Richard and Melissa, they get to when she went back to his apartment. And they got to getting into it, and they was about to get it in, and the girl called, and she was like, Richard, I know you're not still there with Melissa. You want me to believe that there's nothing going on between the two of you? Baby, she wasn't feeling it, and she wasn't feeling it at all. Melissa sort of giggled, and that, you know, Melissa's like, oh, that's my cue to get the hell up out of here, okay? Lance ended up having a conversation with Angela, and Angela was like, oh, sorry, what the heck? Sorry, my phone just started playing. So she was like, did you go to San Francisco to see your little chick? Did you go see Lori? And he was like, I saw Philip. She was like, oh, you saw Philip with his other woman? What, you think I don't know? Like, don't nobody get nothing past me. Like, she was like, that's the problem with men. They think they can outsmart me. They can't. She was like, just like, he was like, oh, so you know I saw Lori. She was like, I do now. But I'm sure that was her confirmation as well. Like, she never gonna let him see him sweat. But that was sort of her confirmation. Now, down to the house, we see Cole playing around on that same typewriter that I told you somebody snuck in, you know, and typed the letter on that typewriter. So coincidentally, the typewriter is going to have Cole's fingerprints on it. Okay, we're going to get there in a second. Maggie and Chase have another argument, child, about whether Chase should be pursuing the situation with Cole and trying to find out who killed Melissa's daddy, child. Then we see Victoria call up Nick, and Listen, this whole situation with Nick is stupid. She basically seduces him, okay? She tells him, I just need to talk. I got a lot going on here at home. You said you would be my friend. Nick was like, listen, you know I'm married and I ain't really trying to do this. And she was like, but Nick, you said we could be friends. Why we can't be friends? He was like, fine, we can go have a drink. She was like, sure, I'll meet you in town. So Cole is going to town to meet up with some of his friends and have a couple of drinks. She gets a ride with Cole. Tells Cole, listen, I got to ride home. Don't worry about me. She meets up with Nick. Nick was like, all right, cool, let's go in here and have a drink. She was like, no, let's go ride. You said you wanted to take your car out for a spin. Let's go for a ride. She took him for a ride, all right. Next thing you know, they at Point Lookout getting it in. Okay? Listen. Victoria, y'all know I can't do her. Y'all know I can't do her. Now, Cole, on his way home, the sheriff sort of harasses him. The sheriff pulls him over, gives him a hard time about, well, how many drinks have you had? Well, you know, I need to give you a field sobriety test. And Cole was like, so you really, that's what you're going to do? Like, that's how we going to do this? You just going to give me a hard time, like, forever? I'm just never going to be able to do nothing now for the rest of my life. You just going to be. And he was like, listen, all I'm saying is you just need to be careful. Like, you out here driving. Like, I could take you in for driving drunk now, but, because you borderline, but I tell you what, I'm going to be nice. I'm just going to give you a ticket. So, Richard's little side chick / secretary, she got her feelings, honey, and she done called to the big boy, probably Richard's daddy, and told Richard's daddy, Richard ain't here doing what he's supposed to be doing. He ain't taking care of business. Because, you know, she in her little feelings, honey. She in her little feelings. So, Melissa come tipping home in the middle of the night, and Angela tells her, where have you been, ma'am? And she said, you know, I was just out with some friends. And she said, you're not acting like, a married woman. And she was like, Angela, I'm just trying to be like you. She was like, you don't have what it takes to be me, honey. And so then Melissa tells Angela, she said, listen, you ain't never gonna get my daddy's property. Like, I don't know what you think about to happen, but let me tell you what ain't about to happen. And Richard and Angela was like, yeah, I'm gonna get what I want. We bound together. You got that baby. Now, we know that baby don't belong to, but listen, don't nobody, everybody in the house know but Melissa that they know. I mean, Melissa know who the daddy is, but she don't know that they know who the daddy is. So Cole gets home, and somebody ends up hitting Cole upside the head. Looks like the same person who wrote that letter. Hitting upside the head, knocking him out, puts the letter down next to him. So I'm assuming it's like a suicide note, and then starts the engine, the car next to Cole, so that the carbon monoxide gets on Cole and closes the door. I said, ooh, here we go. So that was the episode. Y'all let me know what y'all think. Who trying to kill Cole? Who y'all think trying to kill Cole? Let me know what y'all think. Drop it in those comments. Peace.